Good evening, sweetheart. It's Maggie. Come sit with me. Let's make this night a gentler one. I'm glad you're here tonight. Outside, the rain has been falling for a while now. Not the kind that rushes, just a light, steady rain. The kind that doesn't ask you to hurry anywhere. I turned on only the small lamp by my chair. The living room feels smaller this way, kinder, as if it knows we don't need much light to be together. Come, sit across from me. Yes, right there. You don't have to say anything. I have my tea with me tonight. It's still warm, not too hot, just warm enough to remind my hands that they're being held by something. And before I even take a sip, there it is, that scent, the quiet, unmistakable scent of old books. They're stacked just where they've always been, along the wall, some upright, some leaning, as if they grew tired of standing straight a long time ago. I didn't move them for you. They were already there, waiting. Old books have a way of doing that. They don't announce themselves. They simply stay. It's funny, isn't it? How a room can smell like memory without bringing any pain with it. This scent doesn't pull me backward. It doesn't ask me to remember names or dates or endings. It only says, you've been here before. You're safe here again. Lily is at my feet, just like always. She didn't look up when I sat down. She didn't need to. Some companions don't need eye contact to feel close. I rested my heel lightly against her side, just so she knows I'm here too. The rain tapped the window once, twice, then settled back into its steady rhythm. You know, there are people who say old books smell like dust. I've never agreed with that. To me, they smell like patience, like time that learned how to sit still. When I was younger, I read to learn things. Later, I read to escape things. Now, I keep books not to read them, but to be reminded that some parts of me already learned what they needed. You don't have to reach for any memory tonight, I promise. We're not opening anything yet. We're just letting the room breathe around us. The chair across from me is empty, but it doesn't feel lonely. It feels prepared. Some chairs are like that. They don't wait for someone specific. just wait for presence. The rain makes the silence thicker, doesn't it? Not heavier, just fuller, like a blanket you don't notice until you stop shivering. If you'd like, you can imagine the scent too. Old paper, worn covers, ink that softened with age. No urgency, no lesson, just the quiet proof that time passed and left something gentle behind. Tonight isn't asking anything of us. We don't need to think ahead. We don't need to sort anything out. We're only opening the night slowly, the way you'd open a familiar book, already knowing you don't need to finish it. Stay right there with me. I'll let the rest of the room speak, one page at a time. I didn't reach for a book right away. I let the scent stay where it was, between us, like something that didn't need a name. You know, sweetheart, old books don't smell like the stories inside them. They smell like the moments around the stories. They smell like late nights when the house finally went quiet, like mornings when I promised myself I'd only read one page and then forgot the promise entirely. When I run my fingers along the spines, I can feel where time softened them, not worn out, just worn in. Some of these books were read carefully, others were read desperately, a few were never finished, and none of them seem upset about it. I think that's why they feel like home. They don't ask to be completed. They don't mind being returned to the shelf mid-thought. They understand that life sometimes closes before the chapter ends. There's one book here I barely remember reading. I couldn't tell you what it was about. I don't remember the ending. I don't even remember why I bought it. But I remember who I was when it sat in my hands. That version of me needed something quiet, something that wouldn't rush her, something that would stay open while she figured herself out. The book did that, and now it does something else. It stays. Lily shifted just now. She does that when I linger too long in one thought, as if to say, I'm here. You're still here. I rested my hand on the edge of the table instead. The wood felt familiar beneath my palm, Old books and old furniture have that in common. They remember the weight of people who are no longer sitting there, without missing them in a way that hurts. They hold the shape, but not the ache. Some people try to replace old books. They say new ones are cleaner, brighter, easier to read. That may be true, but new books don't yet know how to wait. Old books do. They've learned that being close doesn't require being opened. I think that's something we all learn eventually, if we're lucky. That presence doesn't have to perform. That love doesn't always speak. That comfort can be quiet. If tonight feels a little slow for you, that's all right. This room understands slow. These shelves were built for it. I noticed the lamplight catching the edges of the pages, not bright enough to read by, just bright enough to remind me they're there. That's how memory works when it's gentle. It doesn't demand attention. It just glows. You don't need to remember anything tonight. You don't need to open any old pages of your own. Let the books do the remembering for both of us. Let the rain keep time outside. Let Lily breathe us into the present. We'll stay right here for a while longer. There's no rush to turn the page. In a moment, I might tell you about the chair again, about how some objects know us better than words ever could. But not yet. For now, just sit with the scent. It's doing its quiet work. There's something comforting about sitting among things that already know how you move. I didn't have to adjust my chair. It remembered the way I sit. This chair has heard more silence than conversation. It doesn't lean forward. It doesn't pull away. It simply holds. I placed my cup down again in the same small circle it's made over the years. The table didn't mind. It never does. There's a faint scratch near the edge from a night long ago when my hands were unsteady. I don't try to hide it anymore. Some marks aren't damage. They're proof of being human. Old objects don't ask questions. They don't wonder if we've lived well enough or loved deeply enough or become who we thought we would. They simply say, "You were here." Outside, the rain shifted slightly, a little closer closer to the window now. It sounds different when you stop listening for something and start listening with it. The bookshelf across the room leaned quietly against the wall, not perfectly straight, but certain. I think that's what I appreciate most about old things. They don't chase perfection. They choose familiarity. This chair doesn't care how I'm feeling tonight. It doesn't adjust itself to match my mood. It just stays the same and lets me change. Lily lifted her head for a moment. Then she settled back down, trusting the night to continue without her supervision. I smiled at that. We've both learned something over the years, that not everything needs to be watched closely to be safe. There's a book resting on the arm of the chair beside me. I didn't put it there carefully. It found its place on its own. The pages don't lie flat anymore. They curve slightly, like hands that have learned how to rest. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. Some things offer comfort just by being within reach. You know, there was a time when I believed meaning came from understanding, from knowing why things felt the way they did. Now, I'm not so sure. Sometimes meaning comes from recognition, from sitting among things that say, "We know you. You don't have to explain." The lamp cast a small shadow behind the chair across from me. It didn't look empty. It looked patient, as if it understood that people don't always arrive all at once. Sometimes we come in pieces, and that's still enough. If you're feeling a little scattered tonight, or a little worn at the edges, this room doesn't mind. These objects don't require you to be whole. They've spent a lifetime holding things as they are. We'll stay here a moment longer. There's no need to move. The night is already doing what it knows how to do. There is a moment in the evening when the room seems to exhale with you. Not loudly, not all at once, just enough. I noticed it when I leaned back into the chair, that small shift where nothing changes, yet everything settles. The lamp hum stayed steady. The rain found its rhythm again. I didn't realize I'd been holding my shoulders so high until they lowered on their own. That's how rest comes now, not as an instruction, not as a decision. It arrives quietly when the body finally believes it's allowed. I lifted my cup for another sip. The tea had cooled a little. Not cold, just gentle. Like it had waited long enough and decided to meet me where I was. Lily shifted again at my feet. She pressed a little closer, the way she does when the night deepens, not asking for attention, just confirming presence. There's a kind of listening that doesn't involve ears, the way the floor holds your weight, the way the walls keep their distance but never leave. This house knows how to stay quiet without feeling empty. Outside, a car passed somewhere far away, not close enough to interrupt, just close enough to remind me the world is still moving without asking anything of me. I didn't reach for my phone, didn't check the time. The clock ticked softly from the other room. I let it. There's no urgency in this hour, no problem waiting to be solved, just minutes unfolding the way they want to. Sometimes I think peace isn't the absence of thought, but the absence of pressure to follow them. Tonight, thoughts come and go like rain sliding down glass. I don't chase them. I don't stop them. I let them pass. The blanket slipped slightly from my knees. I pulled it back, not tightly, just enough to feel the weight again. That's all I needed. You don't have to disappear into the night to rest inside it. You can stay exactly where you are, breathing, listening, letting the room do some of the holding. If you're here with me now, in your own quiet, your own small circle of light, you don't need to arrive anywhere else. This moment isn't going anywhere. I'll sit like this a little longer. No conclusions, no lessons, just the soft agreement between a room and a tired heart. If you're still here with me, you don't have to say anything. You don't even have to listen closely. Sometimes it's enough to be in the same quiet. I adjusted the cup a little on the table. The sound was small, almost apologetic. I like sounds like that. They don't demand attention. They just let you know something is present. Lily lifted her head for a moment and then rested it back down. That's her way of checking in, not asking, just confirming that we're still together in the room. I think people need that too. Permission to be near without performing closeness. If tonight feels heavier than you expected, you don't have to explain it here. nights carry a weight without a name, and naming it isn't always the kindest thing. You can set it down beside the chair for a while. The floor won't mind. The rain has been doing the same thing all evening, falling without urgency, without commentary. It doesn't hurry to stop. It doesn't try to be meaningful. It just continues. There's comfort in that. I took another sip of tea, slower this time. The warmth reached my hands before it reached my thoughts. That order matters now. If you're holding something tonight, a thought, a memory, a feeling that arrived without invitation, you don't have to hand it over. Just let it sit between us, like a third cup on the table that no one needs to drink from. There was a time in my life when I believed comfort had to fix something. Now I know better. Comfort doesn't repair, it accompanies. I shifted in the chair and felt the fabric respond. The chair didn't complain, it adjusted. That's what support looks like when it's earned. You're allowed to rest without reaching the end of a thought. You're allowed to be unfinished for the night. Outside, the rain thinned for a moment, not stopping, just loosening its grip. That happens inside too, not all at once, in small, honest places. If your breath is shallow right now, that's okay. If it's deep, that's okay too. No one here is measuring it. Lily sighed again, a long one. She does that when she feels certain nothing else is required of her. I think certainty is underrated. Not certainty about the future, but certainty that this moment is enough. We'll stay here together a little longer. No advice, no story that needs an ending, just a shared stillness that doesn't ask you to be anything else. If your eyes are heavy, let them rest. If they're open, let them soften. The night knows how to hold what the day couldn't. I'm here, and you don't have to carry tonight alone. The night has changed its shape again, not in any obvious way, just enough for the body to notice before the mind does. The room feels settled now, as if everything that needed a place has quietly found one. I leaned back, and the chair answered with its familiar sound. It doesn't try to be silent anymore. It knows I know it. I set the cup down for the last time tonight. The tea has cooled, not cold, just finished. That feels right. Lily stretched her legs and turned once before resting again. She's decided the night is safe. Animals always know when nothing else is expected. The rain outside has thinned to a whisper, still there, still faithful, but no longer asking to be heard. I've always liked this part of the evening, the moment when the world stops explaining itself, when thoughts loosen and memories stop pressing forward. If something inside you is also settling now, let it. Don't rush to understand it. Understanding can wait until morning. Your shoulders don't need to hold themselves up anymore. Your face doesn't need to perform a smile. Even your thoughts can rest their weight on the floor for a while. I notice my own breath slowing, not because I asked it to, but because it feels allowed. That's how rest arrives these days. Not announced, just permitted. The lamp beside me hums a little lower now. Its light has softened into something warmer, less curious, like it knows its work is almost done. I think tomorrow will ask for gentleness too, not in a dramatic way, just in the way small things do, quietly, persistently. There will be another evening, another chair, another cup, another moment when something small asks to be noticed. For now, let the night close itself. You don't have to stay awake for the ending. I'll sit here a moment longer after the words stop, just to keep the room company while it settles. Rest well tonight, sweetheart. Good night. From me, Maggie.